with us for the last session?
Yeah, I was here for about half of it.
Oh, nice.
I saw you comment on a couple of things in the live chat.
I excuse myself at 3:30 for that.
Anybody need computers? Got the card over here if you want them.
The only one I was waiting for was Lorraine Sella, who said she was going to join us on the Hangout. I'll give her a minute and then we'll get going.
Mute me.
Hi.
Hi, Lorraine.
Finally, I found you.
Absolutely. So it's a big world, cyber world, but
Yes, but I did find you.
excellent.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
All right, then, Dana, I think we're gonna go because I've got about 45 minutes till my kids come home. So it's gonna get messy if we go past about 3:45.
I did kind of that in on your Google Hangout. It was pretty funny when your kids were crawling all over you.
Yeah, that's normal. And we were supposed to. My wife was supposed to go to the doctor at 4:30, so I said I'll just do this from home rather than doing it in my office and trying to run to get home. And then she had subsequently canceled the doctor's appointment, but I'm home nonetheless because I had everything set up. So we'll get flying. Let me throw my slides up on the screen. Everyone, and we're gonna go to play. Okay, and you all can see the keynote presentation in front of you.
Yes.
Okay, so this, I'm trying not to, trying to think about some things that I wanted to say today. I'm trying not to repeat, the same things that I said last semester or semester before. So I'm looking at, Google Hangouts and YouTube Live. In the context of teaching an online class, but also in the context of how can I use this in face-to-face and hybrid courses as well. It's not just something that we can use exclusively online. It's been, I have to say, I've been doing this now about 2 years using this format, and I have to say that it's been phenomenal. Here's the link I sent, the slide deck, but here's the link to the slide deck if anybody wants that. You can go ahead and grab that. And then the only other thing, if you'd be so kind as to, you can jump in whenever you want, but just if you're not talking, just mute yourself so we don't see the screen jumping all around. That would be super. And to do that, you've got obviously the toolbar or the buttons if you're in iOS using Hangouts. So, I think Dana was nice that they kind of, you kind of seen and experienced some of the Google Hangout already. And then on the YouTube side, Google's done a lot in the last couple of months to really clean up their act. Doing this used to be a little bit more involved in terms of how you did the setup. Now it's pretty much straightforward. You create the YouTube live event and you just go right online, and then you take it up to YouTube. And the stream was pretty, I'd say what we were watching was about a 15 to 20-second delay from what you all were doing live in Jersey City. So it's pretty close to real time. Doesn't take a lot of time to buffer and then to stream it. So this is what it looks like. One of the things, probably the first thing that I'm super excited about is that sometime in March, Google quietly increased their users, the maximum users in a Google Hangout from 15 to 25 if you're a GAFE school, which obviously St. Peter's is. What happens is the 10 most active participants show up on the bottom on the YouTube stream. But if you're in the Hangout, you see everybody. I was doing the meet and greet for my class in January, and I counted 16. I thought I counted it wrong. I counted 3 times, and I said, "Oh, okay, that was odd." And I let it go, and then I just happened to look it up. And then the news media that I saw was that Google quietly made this change. They really didn't make a big fanfare about it. So, but for me, this is huge. This totally changes my paradigm shift from having to worry about what do I do with students 16 through 20 who want to be part of the Hangout, but who just can't be because Google limits it to 15. And now I can have 25. I don't have to worry about, people can still watch the stream, people can still participate in other ways. But I had a student who said, she was sick, she wanted to, she wanted to participate. She's like, I don't feel well, I'll just watch the stream. I said, just turn off your camera and turn off your microphone. You can watch the live, be in the live Hangout because I've got space, which is really probably the biggest thing they've done. I feel kind of almost embarrassed that I didn't know about it because they just really didn't sell it the way that, normally Google pops up, big news. I know if you signed on to the Hangout, you'll see that they're discontinuing their API in April, which is depressing. But I've got 25 users, so I'll take 25 users over the fact that I can integrate, potentially a third-party application into the Hangout. So this, like I said, for a web-based class, it's huge. I could potentially do one of the things I just did my class last week, and ironically, it was Thursday. The university was closed, and they got an email Wednesday night. I said, "Snow is not going to stop us. We're going to have class on Thursday night." I dare say I was the only class in St. Peter's to be in session on Thursday night. And I had 15 out of 19 people in my Hangout, which was phenomenal. What actually surprised me the most, which I liked the most, was that we finished it, and somebody asked the question, well, is anything due this week? And I said, well, the stuff I assigned last week, but there's no assignment now for next week unless you weren't in the Hangout. Yeah, there's a small assignment to do to make up for the fact you weren't here. And they're all like, can we do this again? And I was, a little bit taken and, almost like, in awe that they're like, yeah, this was kind of cool. We started at 9 o'clock at night, and by 10:30, I'm like, all right, folks, I know I said 10 o'clock, but and they were going about classroom management. We talked about a couple of different things. I'm like, we can still talk, but I'm like, it's 10:30. I think people are gonna start falling asleep. But they really enjoyed it. And that's really, it's exciting when you do something like this, and you're always on pins and needles because you're sitting in your basement. Is this going to work? Is everybody going to get on? And then you start to see the pop-ups, as it gets closer to 9 o'clock, and sure enough, if you build it, they'll come, and they all enjoyed it. They all participated in it. They really got to embrace and enhance and really see what it's like to learn online. I still go back to my mantra that is this the first class they've taken at St. Peter's, and/or is it the first time they've ever been online? And I'm seeing that in GE 502, a lot of these people are both. It's like I've been out of school for 15 years, and I'm coming back to school, and they're just, they're telling me I'm nervous beyond. I'm to the point like I'm so nervous about doing it. I'm like it's fine. We're gonna get through it. And now it's like it's subsided because they've had to look in. They've had to look in. There we go. It's Rob, I just saw your note now. I'm showing that my screen is I'm in the Hangout twice, and I can see my slides. You can't see it?
We can see it on the big screen in the room, but on the live YouTube stream, we only see the room.
that better? Rob?
Nope, I'm still only seeing the room. Oh wait, hang on.
You got a delay.
There it is, yes.
Yep, okay.
There we go.
So like I said, it's really become a positive, you know, and like I said, now I got to go back and look at the syllabus and say, well, is there a way we can get this in? Now, some of them are all excited because they won't have to do work for another week, but doing the prep for the class and whatnot is enough for me, is enough of an assignment, you know, to get them through. One of the things that I thought I'd spend a couple minutes talking about because of the snow last week is the idea of using Google Hangouts, not just for like a web-based class where you know, it's an all online type of class, but what if you used it for continuity of instruction? You know, we had forecasted snow. We knew Wednesday night we weren't going to have class on Thursday, and if you teach a class that meets on Thursday morning and Friday morning, you lost twice. So, you know, the idea of being able to do something like this, and you know, whether it's a weather anomaly, whether it's, you know, if you look at where Jersey City is in relation to New York City, it's probably one of the biggest targets for terrorism in the country. You know, if we were to have something like this where we were to close, if we had to close for a elongated amount of time, if there was a campus-related emergency where we couldn't be on campus, and that could be something as simple as, you know, flooding, or could be weather-related, could be something like asbestos. You know, we've been talking about trying to get my kids' district to close so they can fumigate because we've had kids out with the flu. Little Ferry just did that last week. You know, they closed for an extra day to scrub the school because there's so many kids with the flu. You know, so if we couldn't be in the building, but we still wanted to have class, if you had a student that was sick, you know, if the instructor was sick, there are times where you know, I always say I don't use my sick days for me. I use my sick days for my kids. You know, and when my kid has nothing wrong with him or her except for like 100.5 fever, which means you can't be in school, or they've got pink eye, which means they can't be in school. You know, and it's like, to me, it's a wasted day. I want to be able to at least be able to teach. And with this type of setup, you know, I can certainly do that. You know, for any time that, you know, I can't be on campus, or if I can't make it, if I'm traveling, it really creates a gap when you're, you know, when you lose, if you meet once a week and you've lost that week in the middle, it does create a gap, and you're trying to scramble to you know, read the syllabus, you know, what now am I not going to potentially cover? You know, versus I could do something like this. I could just say, we're gonna meet online, you know, at the same time we would be for class, and let's you know, let's do what we have to do. And now with the users up to 25, I think this becomes, you know, a lot more attractive to do something like this. So you could, you know, really the thought is, how do I take my normal classroom stuff and I push it over to Google Hangouts, whether it's DI, whether it's discussion, you know, whether it's I'm going to show you how to do a certain skill, whether it's we're going to do presentations. You know, I did that with the hybrid class, and that was really helpful. I used to have them come in to discuss. They would go out and do a classroom observation, then they come in and talk about it. And that took anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks just to do that, because every student got a couple of minutes, and then we would discuss them. So, you know, it got to a point where, and this was right around Christmas, I said, well, why don't we just do it online? I'll take, you know, 10 people at a time, and that you come to that class and you're part of that discussion group. And they were all for it. They all, you know, they came for their assigned night. They talked about their observation. They didn't have to come to Jersey City. The first time I did it, I actually did have, I had a couple people in Jersey City because they just were not comfortable with this. But I've seen in the last 2 years that there's been more of a comfort level with the students coming in, or a willingness to learn. So that's really been helpful, that there's not as much, you know, people will tell me I'm nervous, but it's okay. I want to learn this because I think this is important. It's important for me, important for my career. So it's certainly been a positive. One of the things that I'd asked the class last week, I said, is there's anybody that relies on the internet at St. Peter's as your sole source of internet access, you have to let me know, because that's gonna, you know, I'd have to make some type of accommodation for the class, but no one did. You know, we assume everyone has internet at home and has a computer at home. You know, sometimes that's not always the case, but you know, for my class, it worked out that everybody had it and they were able to get right on. But in some cases, I have had students who say, listen, I don't have you know, the only internet I have is on my cell phone, and then it's, well, let's make sure that we understand that we're not using cellular minutes, we're using Wi-Fi, because they'll burn their whole plan in, you know, like the first 10 minutes of class. You know, so that equitable access is still important. And like I said, I got lucky this time, but you know, I have to make accommodations for that if that doesn't exist, because we can't just assume that every kid has, you know, or every student, I should say, has all this stuff. So what I did, like I said, with the online class was it was a discussion on classroom management. Now, for me, I really like when classroom management we talk about. Yes, I could put in a discussion board. Yes, I could give them an assignment, but I just like the fact that we're talking live about strategies for dealing with, you know, with behavioral issues. You know, how do I manage my room? What's my philosophy of managing my classroom? So if they attended the class and I saw, you know, I checked off that they were there, what I do is I put an assignment out of 1 point that doesn't count towards their grade. I put that in, or I shouldn't say it doesn't count towards their average. I put that in the Blackboard grading center, and then as they come in, I just check them off that they're there. And if they're not there, then they have to do a worksheet. Pretty much, they have to write out the questions that I asked, or type them up and submit them. And like I said, I think I only had 3 or 4 that weren't there, which was actually the better attendance I've had in a long time. So I was really happy with that. You know, I could potentially, if I didn't have anybody watching the stream, but you know, I offer the stream to, you know, pretty much if anybody wants to watch it and kind of learn it. I'm not sure that my class is becoming a MOOC, but you know, it has that potential. You know, if you were doing something that was just so intriguing, you know, you could have your class in the Hangout, and then you could have, you know, thousands of people watching the stream on YouTube. Certainly possible, but like I said, I'm not sure if, you know, if any of the, certainly not any of my content is there to deserve MOOC status, but you know, you never know. For some people, it might be good. I said before about the screen sharing, which is important. You know, if you're going to do DI or if you're going to do presentations, you could do that right in Google Hangouts and have your students present just like they would be if they were in front of the classroom. You could have them, you know, they talk a little bit in front of the camera and then share their screen. And I've done this a bunch of times. This works pretty well. And there are some people, depending on their willingness to participate, are more willing to do this than to get in front of a group of people, which especially with teachers I always find interesting. But they just they'll do a Google Slides or PowerPoint, Keynote, whatever, Prezi, and they'll just share their screen and away they go. I have my students in the 502 class do webinars. They'll pick a learning disability and they will prepare a presentation. And then one of the ways they can record that is to just do a Hangout. So I don't, you know, a lot of them will take the time and they'll script it out and they will, you know, get it ready, and then they'll put it in Hangouts and they'll record it. I'm not as picky about, you know, if there's a little bit of, you know, the first part of the video is them, you know, maximizing the screen and all that. But it really gives them an opportunity to do something different other than maybe writing a paper. And it's also nice because they can say, hey, you know, prospective superintendent, look what I did. You know, I didn't just write a paper. This is something that, you know, I did an online class and this is something that I've done. And it goes in the portfolio. And I think that's, for some of these students, have been very successful. For a moment, I just want to, I want to bring my camera back just for a minute because I want to show you one of the things that I am, let's see, let me stop sharing my screen a minute. Let's put the camera back on. Because I knew what the Hangout was seeing. I am looking at, that's a picture of me looking at you kind of thing. That's, I'm a participant in the Hangout as well as a, you know, as the speaker. So what I have on my home computer is I'm watching what's going on in the Hangout and what I'm sharing on the screen. Okay, so I knew that my keynote was showing up on the in the Hangout, but I had it set to, I was locked on you all for the stream. So once I change that, now it's, you know, it's me, so you'll be able to see it on both. But it's important. Sometimes you think, especially if you have like 2 monitors and you think you're showing the right thing to your audience, you realize that you're displaying a blank screen, you know. And I just happened to look down at the comments in the group chat and said, oh wow, I'm not showing that. But it's helpful, you know, if you've got the ability to have a second computer or you use your iPad or your iPhone, you know, to watch the Hangout as a participant to see, is there anything that you're missing? Is it showing up the way that, you know, that you would like it to show up? So let me just go back and put my keynote up again. Here we go. And like I said, now I know, the other thing that I'll do too is I'll keep it in mind that my stream, I'll keep in another window to make sure that I'm looking at both, that I'm watching I'm watching what's actually in the Hangout, but also what's in the on the YouTube stream as well. That's the picture of what I just said. So one of the nice parts about using Google Hangouts, it integrates nicely with YouTube, and you can really organize all of your stuff. It also makes, for my students, it makes for a nice portfolio. And if you're doing workshops like this, I know Dana's starting to create now a repository of all this stuff, which is great because it's almost like this could be the norm for every time you do professional development. If you have people that are going to participate or want to be part of the actual discussion, they can be in the Hangout. But then if you're in a spot where you're not going to be able to participate, you could watch. You can watch it right on YouTube. This semester, for the first time, I had a girl in my in doing the discussion last week, and we're talking and all that, and I had to jump in. I apologize for interrupting, and I said the girl's name. I said, "Are you driving right now?" And everybody laughed because they saw it, because all of a sudden I'm watching stuff go past her, behind her. I'm like, what? She was driving. She was driving home from somewhere, but she wanted to be part of the discussion, and she was talking like she would be on the phone. So it was interesting, further proof that this you can really learn anywhere. I did encourage her not to speed, not to get a ticket, which she did not. But for her was just a natural. I'm in spot A and it's 10 to 9. I know I'm not going to be home by 9 o'clock, so I just got in the car. I plugged in my charger on my phone. I turned on the camera. I'm in the Hangout, and I'm driving home. So we didn't get a lot of eye contact, which was good. She was watching the road, but at least she was able to participate in the Hangout, which was really cool. I saw Dana and Rob using the live comments, which is much better than the old way. There's a third-party add-in with Comment Tracker, which was okay, but it's so easy. So if you're streaming and you want to ask people, if you're doing something where you've got a tremendous amount of people that are watching the stream, you could ask them for live feedback. You could have someone moderate this to make sure no one's posting anything inappropriate or anything like that. But this is nice too if you want to offer, if you're doing a lecture of some sort and you're not looking for interaction, but if anybody wants to pose a question, you could do something like this. It does have a 200 character maximum. You can only submit 3 times every 30 seconds, but you can go back and look at analytical comment data, which I'm a data kind of guy, and that's kind of cool because I can see, was it worth it for me, to pose questions or people commenting on the live side, and that's helpful. Unfortunately for me, in a with my screen on presenter mode, I'm not seeing that. But like I said, one of the things that I certainly am going to do, and I'm kind of multitasking doing it now, is to keep the stream open, no volume, but at least to see, what's going on the YouTube stream as well, and I can potentially see, how off real time I am. I see one person's watching the Hangout. Okay, so I'm not that far, I'm not that far behind. So go ahead.
Do they save, do the live chat comments get saved anywhere, or are they only available?
I have not, I thought they were, but manage monitor participants.
I'm looking for them.
I'm not sure if they do. I thought they did, but it's, the comments that appear on the bottom are only post stream. They're not the live comments. I would hope that they are saved somewhere, but I have not found it yet. I'm sure they might be. I think they have to be buried somewhere, and that's something I'll have to find and report on. So, but yeah, I know you can look at analytical data, so you have to be able to look at the actual comments, but I haven't found that yet. I know I was looking for it, I couldn't find it. So, one of the other things that I like, and this is really good for, if you are any type of class, face-to-face, blended, online. This is at Bergen Catholic during the day I teach computer science. So this is my freshman, and this was one of those days I'm like, let's do something different. And I'd said to, I was talking to a couple of alums that I've taught, and I said, would you like to come and speak to my class? Oh, I don't know if I can make it. The times are strange. I'm like, well, we'll do it online. Oh, yeah, that's fine. So this kid, because he graduated in 2008 from Bergen. He's like, I got out of bed 10 minutes ago. And this was about 11 o'clock in the morning. He's like, I just threw on a jersey, combed my hair, and I'm sitting in my living room. And to him, it was just a natural, here's what I'm going to do. And he did the same thing with the Hangouts. I locked him on the screen. We talked about 40 minutes. Some of the kids asked questions. He co-founded a website called the Players Lounge, where you can play FIFA soccer for money. This is what they do when they learn AP computer science from me. They go out and they make these, they make these websites. But the kids are very interested. The kids really got a kick out of it. And I did it with 2 different speakers. I have a camera, the same camera that I'm using now, I put on top of the TV, and my laptop is on 3 boxes of Rice Krispie treats, as you see under the television. But it worked great. There was no issues hearing him. He was able to see them all. I didn't have any kids in my class that, had media issues, meaning that they wouldn't, you can't use their image and likeness and all that. But if I did, then I wouldn't stream it. It would just be a Hangout without the stream. And I took the picture from the back of the room, so you could kind of guess who these kids are. But depending on if they say, well, don't put my name and face together, then this is perfectly legitimate. Or I could put them. There's a 3rd row to the right as you're looking at the screen. There's a 3rd row of students that I didn't get in the picture, so I could just stick them out of the camera's view. And this was great. It's always nice when students of any grade level, get career awareness, and even graduate students, to hear, oh, hey, I'm an LDTC. This is what I do, and I'm a business administrator. This is what I do. And to get a different perspective on things is great. But to try and get someone to actually come to campus, if I said to someone, can you come to Jersey City on a Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, I'd get laughed at. And the sad part is there's a lot of good people that are out there. I've got a lot of colleagues that would be great to come in and talk, but just getting them to campus is tough. But with this, they could be, sitting in their living room, and not think, anything different. So this is something I highly encourage you to try, because it's not difficult. Set up the Hangout. You need a halfway decent camera. The one I got was like $100 Logitech camera. I tried it the first time with the camera that was on my MacBook, and it was okay. This one's got a wider view. It's a little bit clearer. So, this definitely worked pretty well. I'm really actually almost done. A couple of tips that I've seen now in doing this a while. Inviting people to a Hangout can be a challenge. You have to think about, are you going to do interaction? Or are you just going to stream? Because if you're going to do interaction, then what I do is I copy out, I copy the link, and I'll email the link out. I sent out the invite as well. Now it'll be interesting to see how many people clicked on the link in my email or people that clicked on the invitation. I can't see that type of demographic data, but it'd be interesting to see, how you got here. But then what I'll do is I'll also send out the link in the email, or for a class, I'll post it as a Blackboard announcement and push that out via email, so that there's no issue of, oh, gee, I didn't know where I was supposed to be. I was in a Hangout room all by myself, and I've had students tell me that before, like, where is everybody? So I'll take their emails at the start of the semester. I'll put them in a comma separated value file. So I just, when it comes time for invites, I copy and paste. And email is easy with Blackboard, but the invites I'll just copy and paste so I can stick them in where it says invite guests. And then I send it directly, and generally I don't have any issues with students, getting into the Hangout. So yeah, that's exactly what I just said. Copy and paste it as Blackboard. And then I'll also, after it's over, it takes about 5 minutes for the video to finish recording, for it to compress and then post to YouTube. But then I'll send out a link. Here's what we just recorded. Please feel free to watch it at any time. And then it's also, I have a playlist of previous classes. I have one for these workshops on my YouTube page. So, it's easy to find. Students want to go back and watch it. Like I didn't get to catch the first couple minutes of Dana's, so I can go back and watch that, whenever I want. That's the part of the package deal, is that Oh, if you miss class, it's okay. It used to be if you miss class, you're up the creek. But now if you miss class, it's okay. You don't, you know, you don't, you're not going to miss anything because you can still watch the reruns. Whatever you're going to do with this, you really have to practice. You really have to think about, what do I want to do? How do I want to do it? And then try it out with students. Now, this was a totally staged picture. I'll admit that, because it was for a conference presentation. But the first night when I do the hybrid, I bring your laptops, bring a set of headphones. Let's try this and make sure it works. When I do the online class, it's a meet and greet. Some of them call it an online cocktail party. Doesn't matter. I say, you know, bring, you know, here 9 o'clock, we're gonna get together, and it's pretty much, you know, to say, hey, you know, I'm Alan, I'm a real person, you know, and I get to meet some of them because I wouldn't know these people if I fell over them on the street, you know. So I could say, oh, here's who you are, and it's nice to meet you. And also, I had 2 students that had audio problems that they couldn't figure it out, but that gives them 3 weeks until I do the real hangout. They were able to get those issues fixed. Now, potentially, if we went right away to the hangout only once, they would have never known they had those problems. So however you teach it, I definitely see you gotta let everybody get their feet wet with no fear of, oh, I'm gonna get a big grade, whatever. And they, you know, I told them, I kept pounding them, bring in your laptops the first week, you know, to the first night of class. Let's make sure you can get on. You know, and you can see they're all working very hard in that picture because I totally staged it. But we actually did do the practice. But I do recommend that, because when I first started doing this, it was a disaster. Like it took me really like 2 semesters to really get this going right, because I really didn't get it. And we were in like when we had the 2 organizations in Google. So, but the student domain didn't have Hangouts available, but the faculty did, you know, so, and at one point the faculty didn't. So I was using my Bergen Catholic credentials to run the Hangouts, and I had to invite anybody, not just GAFE users. So it became a little strenuous, but now I think it's you know, really really seamless. Dana, were you going to say something? Somebody was going to say something.
So I think Daisy and the library wants to use it specifically for individual conferencing, right?
Yeah, kind of one-on-one research consultations with online students mostly.
Oh
Would
yeah.
you have like a training video available? Because if you guys are doing individual conferences, then because I'm listening to what you're saying about practicing, so they might be taking in students who have never used Hangouts before and saying, hey, let's do an individual video.
Yeah, I've never made one. I should say that part of what I do, I run an orientation video. I use Camtasia, and I made a video to, you know, give the students an orientation to the entire course. And part of it is I talk about Hangouts. You could certainly go on my YouTube channel and watch the previous ones and kind of see, you know, how it works. I can send you to, and I'll forward it to, actually, Dana, what I think I forwarded to you before, those steps, I think I wrote them in the fall, and those are pretty accurate. So I'll give you an idea of how to do it. Some of the steps you have to do, you only have to do them once, like, you know, associate your Google account with your YouTube account. Some of that stuff is only you do it once and that's it. You know, that's a great idea, because then you could say, hey, we're going to have, you know, consultation hours at, you know, all day, and you don't have to be at the library to do it. You sign up for an appointment, and then I send you an invite for a Google Hangout. You get on with the student. You can share your screens, do whatever you have to do, and you know, I don't have to leave.
Students now that are like in Louisiana and writing dissertations, we have online doctoral programs, so we gotta figure out how to do what we do at the reference desk, kind of online.
Yeah, that's great. That would be so ideal to do something like that.
Do you have any tips about sharing your screen, Al? Like, I know we can show our screen. So say we're sharing like a library database.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was just doing with the keynote. All you know, when you click on the toolbar on the left-hand side, there's a white arrow inside of a green box. It says screen share, and then you'll get this funky little. It'll say share your screen. What do you want to share? A window or the entire screen? I'll just say the entire screen. So now it's going to look a little. It's going to look a little weird. Actually, you don't see. Yeah, so it looks a little weird. But now what I could do is I can say, let me find something. Let me open up Safari, because that's I'm using someone else's laptop. I have to apologize if there's anything one sheet that comes up. But now I'm on Safari, and I can say, okay, here's what you do. You go to this website, and then the student's following along with you, and oh, okay, here's what I do, and away you go. And this is probably. I'm sorry.
Can you send them links? I guess you could put it in the comments.
Yeah, you put it in the group chat on the right side. If you click on that icon on the top that says chat, oh, now I lost it on my screen. But if you click on, let me just stop this. On the top one that says group chat, yeah, if you want to send them a link to something, I'll click on this database like I did with Rob. I sent him I sent everybody the YouTube stream. So you could do the same thing in the group chat.
Cool. Or we can even see it there.
Yeah, and who's that? That was let me hover Daisy. I'd be if you want to chat about it further, that's you definitely on the right track in terms of doing something like this. I'd be more than happy to give you another 2 cents or some ideas.
Like you can plan if a student sets up an appointment for a week from now on 3 p.m. You can set up the Hangout in advance. You did that for this meeting, right?
Yeah. Now I sometimes I've had issues with it with doing the advance. So what I did, and this is a loaner laptop from work. I set it up last night. I put TeamViewer on it. So what I did from work about 1 o'clock, I set everything up because I knew depending if I was in anything emergent at work, I was gonna have to leave work, get here, and pretty much I came home, put the dog out, threw a little laundry in, and sat down. Like I wasn't going about till let me create a Hangout and all that. So everything was done. I just turned off my video and my microphone, and the Hangout's been open since about 1 o'clock when I sent out the invitation. So I sat down, put my headphones on, turned the camera on, boom, away I went. So I generally do it that way. You can do it. You can set it up for a pre-established time. I never really got it to work the way I liked it, so this is how I generally do it. I'll set up my computer ahead of time, and just let it sit. So, and you could also use the same link if you're going to have, let's say, conference time for the whole day. Here's the link, and I'm just hanging out the whole time. People can come in and out at the bottom, but I'm just gonna, I'm gonna stay here. So.
I just want to make the distinction too. So I think it's a good idea to record the conferences because then the student can go back and watch them. But you can always do a plain Hangout as well, where you set up a calendar invite and you just click add video call, and then that just sets up an unrecorded video conference back and forth.
Yeah.
So YouTube Live, Al, is really only if you want to record the whole thing, right?
Yeah, if you want to stream and record, you go with the YouTube Live. Otherwise, you could just do an unrecorded Hangout. If you want to, if you're doing a conference time or you're doing something that doesn't need to be recorded and streamed, then yeah, that's the way to go. You could do it exactly what Dana said on the calendar, or you could do it on send out the link, something like that.
But again, it might be a good idea to record them just so that the students have, if you want them to be able to go back and rerun.
Yeah, and the other thing you could do too, you could say, well, I'm going to record it, but I won't make it public. I'll make it unlisted. So you have to have the direct link to see the video. Or you can make it available only to students at St. Peter's. So you don't make it available to the entire world. You make it, you have to have your, sign on with your St. Peter's email. I got to get my schools right. Your St. Peter's email in order to see the YouTube. Other questions or thoughts? Waiting for the pitter patter. Haven't heard it yet. No, it was interesting this time to go around and do it. Like I said, I'm in my basement, and it no different if I was at work. I wouldn't be any different if I was, at work, but it just worked out this way. So here I'm sitting in my basement and we could do the same thing. It's really a testament for anywhere, anytime learning. So go ahead.
Or was it you that had the guy on the treadmill, or was that John Hammett's class? Somebody had a guy on a treadmill.
No, that wasn't me.
It must have been John Hammett.
Oh, no. Actually, no, that was Dana. Yes, you're right. It was my class. I've had someone on a treadmill. I had someone at the Republican convention. I had someone in Prague. there was a girl in Prague. I swear to God, she was in Prague, and she got up at 3:30 in the morning to come on. I think she lasted about 5 minutes and went back to bed. But she held up the sign. She's like, I'm learning from Prague, and she really was. It was the greatest thing in the world. So yeah, I've had people all over the place. Anybody else? Daisy, if you, did I get rid of my let me just throw out my let me throw out my contact information. Let me go share my screen again. There's my contact info. If you want to chat at some point about trying to do this, you know, actually for any of you, if you want to, you know, chat about it, I'd be more than happy to. You know, and part of, you know, if you want to call it a, I don't want to say a co-teach, but like a peer coaching kind of thing. I've had people. Dana's been in some of my hangouts before. I've had Nicole Luongo and Mike Finetti have been in at points in the past. You know, just let me know. I wouldn't mind jumping in, and because it's easy, I could just come in the basement. You know, so let me know. I'd be more than happy to do that. Let me leave the parting impression I'll leave with you is my face and not my contact information. Anything else I can answer?
Thank you, Al.
So.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.